Hi, Henrik here. I would like to make a little screencast concerning our last meetings lessons on Tuesday afternoon. And the agenda for our afternoon is, first, I want you to have a look at all the different things that have been uploaded on Blackboard. And if you have any questions that you would like me to address or something that you would like me to elaborate on, then please send me email. Email is down here. So if I have an email by, let's say, Monday evening 9 o'clock, then I'll have a look at the questions. So deadline is Monday 9 o'clock in the evening. Send me an email if you have any questions to what we have on Blackboard. The next issue is I want you to prepare an elevator pitch. I'll come into this a little detail on this in the following slides. Then I want to present you for some network thinking, which is essential especially for entrepreneurs. And following that, we'll have an exercise where for Tuesday I want you to consider and write down what are the next 2 or 3 steps. So what would be the next steps that you're going to do with your project if you're to continue working further with your project. So assignment for Tuesday, write down some the next few steps that you have for your project. And then we'll put that into context. Finally, after doing that, some feedback, and then closing off with questions and comments to writing your project paper and examination. Okay, there was a short break there. I hope you just had a few seconds to look and reflect on the agenda for Tuesday. Concerning your elevator pitch, what I want you to do is have a look at Barringer page 28. He has a suggestion as which elements to include in an elevator pitch. I must say I disagree with Barringer. I don't think an elevator pitch should be 2 minutes, as he suggests. I prefer an elevator pitch to be 30 seconds. In these 30 seconds, you should be able to quite quickly, short, sweet and to the point, to be able to explain the value proposition, the benefits. And this is, I don't really appreciate all this talking about competition. I prefer looking at superstition, because with your value proposition and the benefits, you're providing something unique. That's the reason for the project, that this is something new and unique that doesn't as such have competitors. So it's superstition instead of competition. I like that concept, superstition instead of competition. And if necessary, include your segments. So if it's not evident in the value proposition who the segments are or who the potential customers are, then include the segments. Otherwise, just stick to the value proposition and make it within 30 seconds. So prepare your prepare your elevator pitch, and would have 3 or 4 to make their elevator pitch, and give them some feedback and feed forward on their presentation. What I look for in an elevator pitch is its clarity. So is it quite straight to the point what the value proposition is, without unnecessary elements, and is it complete? Does it cover the the whole value proposition, or are you only taking part of it? So try and think, write it down, check for clarity and check for completeness. And also, you could also consider, reading it up for yourself, front of your mirror, boyfriend, girlfriend, parents, whoever you have, neighbors that could give you initial feedback, and check for the time. So I'll be looking forward to hearing your elevator pitches. Moving into network. Networks become increasingly important, and this is one of the thoughts that can substantiate it. Organizations in traditional industrial epoch is where there's a lot of physical activities, and then the knowledge was at the top, and it didn't need a lot of knowledge. It was put down through the system, and the machines, etc., were put to work. In a new economy, knowledge is the other way around. There's not so much physical activities, but there's an increasingly high amount of knowledge. So essentially, the traditional industrial hierarchy with a lot of physical activities and knowledge being driven from the top has been turned around now that we have not so much physical activities and a huge amount of knowledge in the new economy. Hope it makes sense, otherwise reflect on it for Tuesday. Network, according to, in this book by Stadil and Wallström, Corporate Networking, there's initially 3 different types of governments. We could have market governments, we can have governance with a hierarchy, and we can have governance with a network. So a market governance is where is essentially, in its raw form, complete laissez-faire. But of course we have some laws and contracts for the country, for businesses, for marketing, etc. But the market logic is win or lose. And what defines the market is the price and the market situation. Conflicts in the market is sorted by payment. They're sorted by looking at which contracts there are, which laws there are, and if you can agree on which laws there are, eventually there's the courts that can take into account who's right and who's wrong, so who's the winner and who's the loser. Flexibility, if it's a clear market, it's a huge flexibility because it's all very much a cutthroat market. Values, as such, it doesn't have any values. You could say it's a laissez-faire value. That could probably be included instead of neutral, but laissez-faire. Dependencies, the market logic is return of investment, basically, in my opinion, and the resources is based on money, as Milton Friedman. Hierarchy, this is the organizations. Could also be the national structure, international structure, European Union, national structure within the state. Hierarchy within the organization. University has its hierarchy. Cooperation is defined by line, who's above who and who has a final decision on different issues. So who has the authority, and then to sort this out, we have some different organizational routines, as all organizations have. Who addresses which questions and who ultimately has the last say. The last say is important because what do you do if there's a conflict in a hierarchy? You take it to the next level and it's decided by the next level. Running short of time, I can see, so let's jump over to network. This is one I fancy because of cooperation. You negotiate what is this network how is it going to work. The logic of the network is we're all in it to win, so all have a stake and all should be able to win, as opposed to the market where it's more a win-lose. It's the communication is depending on the relational content. If there's a conflict, try and mediate and find out can we find a solution that fits all, so there's a win-win situation. Otherwise we may have some routines set down. This is a routine for the network. Negotiable flexibility, interdependencies on the values, so we're dependent on each other in the network, and this also means a mutuality. One of the theorists is Bourdieu, and social capital. I'll cover that shortly on Tuesday. I will also cover these aspects: nodes act as alters, ties, density, structural holes, network density. Well, no one, there's two. There should only be one density, but then I'll find something else for the network. And personal contact network. Yep. This is the outset for how you're going to work with your next challenge. The challenge that I asked you to do, what are the I said here up here, what are the next steps for your project? Okay, and then we have this network cube that we're going to be working with. Essentially, we have networks. They can be organizational or individual. So is it, for my case, for example, is the network one that the university participates in, for example, the EQUIS, or is it individually? Is it a network that I personally participate in? Usually there's an overlap, but who is the representative? Is it as an individual, or is it the organization? Is it internal? Is it within the university, or is it external? So outside the university. This could also be the formal, informal is the last criteria. So is it a formal network, for example the Baltic University program that I participate in, or is it an informal network, people that I've worked with or know, or perhaps some that I confide with in the Baltic University program on an informal manner. So we have those 8 unique combinations. The network can be organizational or individual, internal or external, formal or informal, which gives us the... So we have 8 unique different combinations: internal, informal, individual, for example, I, or external, formal, individual, EFI. And it'll be interesting to see how these different combinations work, and trying to map the networks and the network context. And you can also plan them. What is it? What are the goals? What is it you actually want? And this is what we're addressing here. What are the goals? Certain goals, and then you can choose which network is it that's optimal for fulfilling these goals, and how is the implementation going to be. So you set some goals. This is the next steps in your project, the goals you're going to get to. Choose the network tubes that are most relevant, and then a strategy for implementation: who, where, how long, the success criteria. And this network concept can be put into a lot of different of the other models that are existing. For example, here I've put it into Ansof's network, Ansoff and networking. So for example, Ansoff, his market penetration is in an existing market or new market, and is a product or service an existing or new. This is the Ansoff. And then we can put in relationships going into this, let's say, new market with an existing product. How are we going to use the existing relationships, and to which extent are we going to use new relationships, and then from there design networks. So entrepreneurs, they're also concert conductors of their own network, and they have to find out which melody is it they're going to play and who is going to play. Thank you. See you soon.